Hey everybody.
Hi, Monique.
How are you? I know there's a bunch of people that couldn't make it, so. Well, hey everybody. Oh, Gail, your cat picture is cute.
Hey there. Hi.
Cool. So I guess, does anybody have anything not on the list to add? Cool. Gary can't join. He said he didn't have any emergency management updates. Communications wise, I don't think I have any updates either. Hopefully everybody's still okay with me forwarding stuff when it seems like it's relevant to the whole group. And then volunteer coordination, I took off the recurring meeting just because people were not showing up. And I think it's summer. I think it's also just people are getting back to their lives. So I think I've been forwarding needs as people send them to the volunteer listserv. And then I think it makes sense to try to get people together as there's like needs, or maybe even as a social thing once COVID is not there, because it'd be great to have volunteer coordination ongoing, but for right now I'm just gonna leave that alone. Ryan's not on, and I know Ted said there's no real updates to the town. Yeah, Carol did nothing to add. Okay. Ashley, what about food?
I don't have much more of an update. There is an interim for a couple families over in East Corinth between the end of, I'm not sure if I already presented this to this group, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but there was a group of about 10 families over in East Corinth who had some sort of a space between summer meals distribution and then the school's meal distribution. And so there's the Corinth Coalition who came together and assisted that group of 10 families with getting them meals to help supplement in between that gap. And also, Little Rivers is going to be doing so we're expanding our food storage systems. That hopefully will be kind of getting on its way in September, and by the end of September, we're hoping to be participating in the Everybody Eats program. And so we'll be partnering with restaurants to get meals, pay them to make meals that then will be distributed by our care coordinators off to people in our community.
Did you guys get that grant? I'm curious because Vital Communities applied for the money to be a coordination arm as well, and they got it for the whole like Upper Valley region. I don't know if you've coordinated with them at all.
I think that must be who we're coordinating with, because I don't think that Little Rivers as an actual organization, like I didn't apply for, are you talking about the Everybody Eats program?
Yeah, because Vital Communities applied for it was a huge chunk of federal money to be the kind of coordination arm for the Upper Valley, and then they'll be like working with distributors and restaurants and stuff. So maybe you're signed up as a distributor for that grant. Okay.
That's exactly what I think. We're just like a branch that they've connected with. We're working with someone named Eloise,
Okay.
And I forget the other name, but anyways, they have it sounds like 2 phases, and one phase is going to be, has already maybe started, and that's more like community organizations and I'm not quite sure, but maybe the senior center. And then phase 2 is going to be the healthcare facility. So that will be around September 20th if we can hold the capacity, which right now our problem at Little Rivers is that we have a grant for refrigerators and freezers and storage, but we don't actually have a lot of space. So we're trying to figure out how we can find the space to put the refrigeration.
Okay.
So we may be looking at, we don't know exactly what we're going to do yet. This is a conversation that will be tomorrow, but we're trying to figure out some alternative options maybe for getting those meals out to people.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Ashleen. That's exciting. That's going to be a big program.
Monique, do you want me to dovetail on that? Because we've got the biggest thing from schools is a food storage. Sure. First of all, I'm not sure whether temporary refrigeration would help, but we had good luck with a company called Polar Tech throughout the spring and the summer. We rented both refrigeration and freezer units from them. So if you feel like a temporary solution might help you, you just send me an email. I'll get you their contact information. They were not terribly expensive. They were electric as opposed to propane, and it worked out pretty well for both Waits River and Bradford, for whatever that's worth. Secondly, Danielle would concur with this. I think, we were one of the big downers of the budget vote going down. That evening we were both, not just the two of us, but others, thinking, shoot, there goes provision 2, which was, meals for all the children in the schools, because we would not be able, under what we understood to be the rules, we would not have been able to apply in time, even if a new budget vote passed, because it would be past the October 1st deadline for applying for provision 2. Ironically, that very evening, USDA announced that they were extending the summer food program, which was the program by which we provided something in the neighborhood of 2,000 meals a day across the SU, from Waits River to Blue Mountain to Thetford, you name it, through December 31st, or quote unquote, until federal funds run out. So cross your fingers, and hopefully those funds won't run out. But in the meantime, what that's going to be able to do is we'll be able to provide those same meals that we were providing in the spring and the summer through the fall and into the early part of winter in December. At this moment in time, we had to scramble. We literally had 48 hours to put the application in. So we just scrambled. We put the application in. We did what's called a closed application for the moment, which is we'll be feeding all children who are in the schools. But we are talking about and intend to extend that to the little ones again, 1, 2, and 3-year-olds. If we can, we just have to figure out the logistics. It's a little different now that most of the children are in school. So it's logistically a little bit more challenging to figure out how to get food out to the little children. Some of those children are in daycare centers, so they will be getting the meals. But for those that aren't, we have to figure out how to do that. But hopefully we'll revise that application in a couple of weeks and extend that that benefit to the little children who are not in school, as well as the ones that are in school. So that's the good news.
Cool. Thanks, Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, do you want to give an update?
Do you mean me, Sarah?
Yes.
I haven't looked to see whether there's other Sarah on the call today. My apologies for the street noise. So yeah, I don't have a lot of real specific updates other than that we are 3 weeks into what we hope is a 5-week or 6-week session to finish our work on the budget. Working on making sure the rest of the coronavirus relief money is getting out into communities to support individuals and businesses. and spent a little bit of time with the House Education Committee yesterday trying to help them understand the strange and uncomfortable position we're in September without a passed budget. One of the questions that came out of yesterday's meeting was what did the other 17 districts who didn't have a passed budget at the time of the COVID shutdown do in order to get their budget passed? And, you know, how much do they cut from their initial warned budget to their final budget? And is that in the realm of what we're talking about here? So that's one little piece of follow-on that we're working on with the House Education Committee, but happy to take questions if people have specific questions they'd like me to track down answers to.
Cool. Looks like that. Thanks, Sarah. Ashley, back to you. Is there anything health-wise?
I think, I'm not sure if I updated for this, and I don't know if Mike is on the line too, but we are trying to improve the turnaround time for tests. So we are doing, some tests go to Quest, and that is at around like 24 to 48 hour turnaround. And then some tests are going to Dartmouth. And I had my test actually, and it came back in less than 24 hours. I think it went to Dartmouth. So that was pretty cool. So we're improving test turnaround time. And then we are currently assisting schools as they reopen. So we have faculty who are on staff there. And at least I know they're on staff at Oxbow, but I think they're available by phone for immediate response of teachers for other schools like BMU and Bradford Elementary.
Cool. Thanks, Ashley. Let's see, Patty or Erin, anything business-wise?
I don't have anything that I can think of, unless you can think of anything else. So.
I don't think so. Patty, do you have anything?
No, just as far as the bank goes, we're starting to do the loan forgiveness applications, that process that's just starting to get underway. But other than that, people are still coming in with masks, so we're happy about that.
Cool. Let's see, Carol, update on seniors?
Yeah, a couple of things. I had an interesting conversation with Zach at Margaret Pratt. And his perspective was that this fall is a more dangerous time for seniors in terms of catching the virus than we've seen, because people are out and about and flu is coming and people are inside, and that we just need to, you know, encourage people to be vigilant. And I thought that was just interesting. And then the other thing sort of connects to that. This summer, there's a group of women who used to do exercise classes at the senior center who've been meeting outside. But as it's getting colder, they called and asked if they could, you know, move back and use the senior center. And they really can't because of the Department of Aging and Independent Living requirements for taking temperatures and space. But I was wondering if there's any other place around town where people might meet independently if they choose, and are, you know, doing social distancing. I don't know of any place that's open that could work for them, but I was wondering if other people might.
Carol, they could use the event space of the space. I just need to talk to whoever's organizing to make sure they're doing some kind of health check and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And it would be limited. I don't know how many people would be, I'm saying 15 people for sitting in the room, but if it's exercise, you probably want to do less, I'm guessing, but.
Yeah. Okay, well, I can.
Could they use the VA?
Yeah, the gym is open, I think.
Is the gym open?
No, I don't think the gym is open yet.
Closed, okay.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh,
That would be my first thought, is that would be big enough, but probably not. And the requirements for public spaces for cleaning the bathrooms are particularly something that they're probably concerned about. But I can just ask them to talk to you, and maybe there's something that could happen for them. I do worry about the social isolation for people, and the access to. We have suggested that there be a Zoom class. I do Zoom yoga.
Yeah.
But it's like with children, the access to the internet and the confidence in using it aren't there for many of the seniors.
Yeah.
I don't know if Marianne has anything else.
Hi, sorry.
Marianne.
Hi, yeah, no, not really. I guess just to sort of expand on what Carol was saying, OSIP Adult Day in Newbury did start their virtual adult day Tuesday. They've had she didn't attend that day, but I think they've had one person participating in that. They typically had about 10 participants, so they had 1/10 of their clientele show up, but they have opened it to the community. I think it's really challenging to connect, people that haven't been using that kind of technology to those resources. It's just maybe over time that will become something that does happen more often, but right now it's just in its infancy and getting started. I think our agency is just started a new position of a liaison person to connect and educate people from technology who have technology needs, especially, obviously seniors. So I don't know if, Carol has people who are struggling. I would say, please let me know, and I will try to make that connection. If people just need some IT help in a very user-friendly fashion, that may be an option.
Cool.
Other than that, yeah, you're welcome.
I wonder if it would be helpful to do kind of like there's the tax help. I wonder if it'd be helpful to do a day of like walk-in, how to connect to Zoom clinic type help or something.
I'm sure many people would love that. Yeah, I don't know what the plan is with that position. If they're going to be doing remote, walk-in clinics, or they're just going to be doing help over the phone somehow. It just got started, so I'll check. We have a meeting tomorrow at my office. I'll try to get more information and give that to folks next time we meet.
Okay. Well, yeah, let me know if they can't do something like that. I would be happy to do something like that. If Carol, if you could, and Marianne, if you could help organize, like get the word out to the people. So I would maybe by like reservation or something. So it's not a day of sitting around waiting for nobody to show up.
Awesome. Cool. Wonderful. Thanks, Monique.
Yeah. Let's see. Bruce or Danielle, anything additional for the schools to add? Okay.
No, I'm coming.
Okay. I couldn't tell if you're.
I know. I was trying to click. I'm slow on the draw.
It's okay.
And Bruce, if you may want to, because I haven't heard specifics about how things went yesterday. If you have any guidance or thoughts about how things went yesterday, that might be.
I mean, I can comment briefly. I was at, I guess, 4 of the schools yesterday at various times, starting, I don't know, pretty early. There were some delays in terms of parents dropping off, but not radical delays. I mean, it all worked out reasonably well. There was commentary that children, I guess there was one exception, but there were really uniformly across the board that children were incredibly cooperative on the buses. The bus density was acceptable to good. Varied a little bit from school district to school district, but by and large, that's working out. The bus runs had a few glitches here and there, but generally went pretty well. And then, even more importantly, once school got started, uniformly across the board, principals and teachers were just really thrilled to be back. And so it was all good.
Cool.
Great. So, I don't want to go too deep into, the budget stuff, but it's pretty much consuming me at this point. Yeah, so we are really, I personally am reeling from a little bit from last week. It's pretty disappointing, and I know, I'm trying to do some different things to reach out through Facebook to talk more and more to people. And I am hearing clear messages. The hard part is getting people to understand that the big things that people are mostly frustrated about, we have very little control over. As far as, the Copeland building, I know is a real issue for people, and we don't have any ability to change that. And I honestly, having been part of the process, I know that I've said it here before, I wouldn't change that either. We looked high and low. We did lots of different things to try and come up with scenarios. And that really was our best case scenario. But I know that it seems to be a real tough pill for people to swallow. So I don't know the way around that. Some of the good things that are coming out of it, as far as side conversations that are happening, is I think, there is a real willingness for people to try and get together face to face. So I know, Monique, you and I have sort of been teetering on that conversation. I think, the board will meet tonight to talk about some of the options moving forward. And I think that will be one of the options that we talk about, as to whether or not we try to do an in-person information session before we warn our next budget number. And then also we're scrambling around trying to find the details about whether or not we could even do our vote live with people showing up, and what that would look like, and if people would feel comfortable with that. And we're really trying to just look at all different options to see what would work. And then, trying to figure out if cutting the budget will make people feel better about moving forward or worse. The issue becomes what's left on the table for us to have impact on. We really don't have authority over the SU budget at this point. So trying to make cuts, they're really going to come from our local schools. They're not going to come from that higher level, which is where I think people are feeling that frustration. And so we're really sort of between a rock and a hard place as a board, because we hear what people want, but we can't necessarily make changes there. And again, to be honest, there's a lot of expense that's there that is absolutely investments that need to be made, that, we've been waiting years to do something about some of the technology. And we're investing in that. We have really no choice. We have to move forward on that, especially given our current situation. But, and then there's just some investments curriculum wise and, social emotional supports that, as a district and SU, we've really tried to push for. And I think that, it's hard to get that message out there. So, trying to sort of perfect that message and talk to people, and hopefully people feel more comfortable reaching out. So there you go. That's it, I guess.
Thanks, Danielle. Gail,
Yeah.
I think you had a question. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm wondering how is the message getting out though? Because I've been kind of looking for stuff. Do you have to go to meetings to get your message? And because I've been wondering and asking some people in the school, what is the problem? What are people wanting? And so I'm just wondering, where can I lead people to for this information, or myself for that matter?
Well, so for sure, there's been a lack of a PR or public voice. We talked as a board back in, I think it might have been almost a year ago, about trying to do something about having a publicity person for the district, because there's a lot of information that we just don't get out. So we're not great at it, and we're relying really on myself mostly to get the information out, and posting things to the OESU website. So there is information on the SU website. The board did just write a very a good letter, or sort of a letter to the editor, to the JO. We posted that in the JO on the websites of the schools. I posted it to Facebook and to the listservs. Certainly I'll do that again. So those are sort of the methods that I'm using. It's been hard to try and ask more of the school buildings to post things to their websites, only because there's so much information that needs to get out to families as well. And not that this isn't important, it is hugely important, but trying to sort of find the balance between pushing information out and overwhelming people has been challenging. So
I understand that, and it's an ongoing issue for all of our schools, always, ever since I've been alive, this communication. But I also recognize that, you know, the information that is written is not in easy language. It doesn't mean anything to people. And if it could be more conversational, not literal conversation, but just the writing. I know you need to cover bases. I know you need to sound professional. I know all that, but I do think that it's not easy for some people to read, or they get frustrated, or they don't feel smart enough, or, you know, all those things that a lot of our parents deal with. You know, I was one of them years ago. And so I think that is an issue. I'm just saying that. I'm just
yeah,
saying.
no. At this point, I mean, I sat in testimony with Sarah yesterday at the House Ed Committee, and you know, you get asked all these questions about what you're doing and what have you done, and no matter how many times somebody asks you and you think that you've done just about everything that you can think of, there's always something else, or there's always a different slant, or there's always a slight, and it's true. And I do appreciate hearing that, because I do try to be professional in what I write, and I do understand that for some people, having someone prattle on in jargon and
I just think that people
letters is not easy. So
need to feel and understand that they are part of the club. You know what I mean? And that's the big gig.
Yeah. And I will take that into consideration. We are trying to use Facebook a little bit more, which I think is a little bit more user friendly. And I think we're talking about trying to do, like I said, a live, like face-to-face event. And I know that Melissa and I have talked about trying to, you know, maybe doing another Facebook live chat to try and sort of talk and get more information out there, because I do feel like that kind of a forum was better, where it was Melissa and I sort of talking, and Monique was sort of helping us or asking us questions, or those types of things seem to get quite a few hits. So yeah, and anytime, if people have suggestions, please feel free to email me. It's really about getting information out there and trying to get people to understand that the schools really do need support right now. And I know that it's hard, and I know that, you know, everybody's facing financial uncertainty. And so, you know, I just hope that we can sort of rally and all come together to figure out the best path forward, really.
Oh, Gail, you're muted. I don't know if you're talking to us or not.
Sorry, I just want to say one more. Thank you. I think that if people, if you had certain people at these meetings, like they had to go, like certain teachers or the librarian or whoever had to go to these meetings, then they could all be on the same page for distributing that information in their social circles. And you need to get different, you know what I mean? That's because everybody has something different to say. I asked different people from different little clubs, and they all have a completely different idea what's going on. I just think that's really interesting. So I'm not a taxpayer here. I'm not a, you know, I don't have any kids in school, but I care a whole lot.
Yeah, and one of the things that was suggested yesterday too was coming up with some sort of a pamphlet that's not confrontational, or not telling people that they have to support the budget, but sort of just listing some of the positive things and good things that are going on at the individual schools. And I think maybe putting that some, you know, like at the space and at, you know, the libraries, and you know, maybe trying to send it out to people so that they do see that. I think that's something pretty simple and straightforward that we could do before the next vote. But yeah.
Anyway, thanks for it all. I know it's really tough right now. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Danielle. Gail, do you want to share anything from the library or the mural project and stuff like that?
Well, right now, the library, we had to shut down for September because, as you can see, the whole library is in this room right now. And crazy. But so hopefully the construction will be complete in October. And as far as the mural goes, Ashleen, we're starting that in another week, right? And we're meeting with somebody else today at 2:30. I know that, to talk. And I don't know how many kids have been registered or not registered, but I don't know how many kids are talking about coming because I haven't had access to any kids on the street really right now. So maybe Ashleen can speak more to the mural, but I have been talking to Matt Denton yesterday, and he is very psyched and excited. And his drawing is phenomenal. It's beautiful. Did you see it? It's really cool. So I think it'll be a really good come together for the kids when we start. Ashleen.
Yeah. So are you talking about the mural that we are doing or the mural that, because you're also doing a mural with Matthew, right? Different thing. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
that's later on for that one. I'm talking about yours.
Okay, cool. Well, ours. But yeah, so actually, on a little bit of a serious note, we did get some feedback. So just really quick backstory is our team who started this in 2019, like at the very end of 2019, we called ourselves Teens Matter because we were addressing a survey called the Youth Risk Behavior Survey. And that's where teens felt that they didn't matter to people in their community. And that was the quoted question. I got some good feedback from folks in the community. Well, one person, but I thought maybe other people were thinking this, where they were a little bit concerned about equating our teens and the current situation with COVID to the Black Lives Matter movement, and that they didn't want there to be any like confusion, which I thought this was a really good point, because I personally had not thought of that, because we just have been using this term this entire time. So if you've seen any of the flyers change over time, you'll see that it's called Teen Speak now, just so that we don't have any overlap. We're not trying to take away from that movement at all. So that has changed, but I don't think it's going to impact the project too much. So we're calling it Teen Speak, and it's a community it's a mural to depict our community as a garden. And I did not require registration of teens, but we will be requiring safe social distancing, and masks will be required. We're also going to have sanitation and gloves, multiple brushes, and all these things to try and ensure safety of everyone. And then I have gotten some people who wanted to register and just make sure that they can sign up, which has been great. We've heard from a couple of families, and some of them are homeschoolers that are technically in the 7 to 12 age range, which is really exciting because we definitely want them to feel included as well. That's where we're at.
Cool.
I was going to say something. I forget. Sorry. I forget.
Okay. Nancy, do you want to add anything?
I have also been promoting the mural among mentors and mentees. The glitch that we have is in terms of transportation, because we still have the policy that mentors and mentees cannot ride in the same car together. So I'm trying to figure out, with Monique's help, trying to figure out some transportation options for kids to get home. If they do come to work on the mural, then we need to find a way to get them home. So that's our latest challenge. Thanks.
The other thing was that it's happening in Denny Park, if anybody doesn't know. Denny Park is the location. And the dates are September, what are they?
15, 17, 22, 24. That's Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're going to have a 1 hour in the morning, which is 7 to 8 for teens on their way to school. And then another time, 3 to 5 for teens coming home after school. And also just trying to make it somewhat reasonable for folks.
Cool.
So next week, Tuesday, Thursday, and then the week after, Tuesday, Thursday.
Is the mural going to live at Denny Park?
We're not sure yet. It's going to be mobile, and our hope is that it will live in a couple locations.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Carol Churches?
I have nothing new to report. I was told that the Methodist Church opened, but when I called today, they are not open yet, so.
Well, thanks. And then Ramsey, I know you, I don't know if you still have service. I know you put a note in the chat, but
I'm here.
Cool.
Sometimes my computer wants to update and it won't let me stop it from doing that. So I was just worried that something flashed on and I think I preempted it. So I just wanted to, so there's still a lot of movement with various different housing funding. So there's all kinds of different funding out there. What I think would be the most useful if people can do it, but the rules and regulations for it are really complicated, is the $30,000 that you could rehab a apartment or something like that. You have to agree that it's going to be available, I think, for 5 years for low income renters. And the reason I think that one's the most helpful is because there's just not enough housing anywhere. But that program, the money has to be able to be spent before the end of December, unless that all gets changed by our federal government. And so it's frustrating because people have a hard time committing to that, because what I heard today in a housing meeting was that a lot of people who are trying to rehab things and do big projects are having a hard time getting the supplies they need. There's a everybody is renovating and updating. Whoever's been stuck at home, I have a couple friends who are builders and they're right out straight because everybody wants the space they're in to be nice, and people are buying places from out of state and fixing them up. So it's really challenging right now. There's going to be a program called Money to Move that Vermont State Housing Authority just talked about today, and I don't know much about it, but it's going to be trying to help people who are in unaffordable housing move into housing that meets their budget better. So that's kind of nice, because a lot of times we have people who come to us for security deposit or something because they want to move, and they don't fit our criteria for some of the grants that we have when they're not being evicted or something. So that's nice that that's available. So hopefully we can put a lot of this money to use, but it's really challenging without the housing stock to go into.
Cool. Thanks, Ramsey. And just something so when I had shared the Whistle Stop 3 buildings that that Downstreet was going to put in, Marcy is the temporary zoning administrator and said that would violate our zoning. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but
oh well, fix your zoning, people.
Yeah.
That's a really great opportunity. Don't blow it.
I know. Well, the thing is, I guess our zoning for a mobile home park only allows for mobile homes.
I know, which is ridiculous because they're not really mobile. So that it seems to me that across the state, and actually that was one of the things I saw. Sarah's not on there anymore, I don't think, but one of the things they talked about in legislative updates was but they're probably not going to get to it till next year, but was mobile home reform and mobile home park reform. And I'm guessing they'll address that at that time, but I don't know enough about zoning to know if the local zoning could be easily changed to make that work, but that'll be really sad if that can't happen.
Yeah.
So hopefully maybe there's some other private property that somebody could put something on.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you. The idea is that the lots are meant for tiny homes. I'm like, yeah, but they are tiny homes. They're just not on wheels.
Right.
So we'll see. What else? And I haven't received any updates from Mike on transportation. Brian, is there anything on youth sports or anything?
Soccer, we're trying to get signups. Not a whole lot of people have signed up for soccer. We're not going to be able to use the fields at Bradford Elementary. So we're waiting to hear from the town whether we can use Memorial Field for that. I'm hoping that that'll be the case because they certainly used it for baseball and softball. So, you know, the forms are out there. Hopefully some kids will sign up. It may end up just being kind of clinics, like weekend clinics for soccer, because even if we do have enough kids for teams, we may not have anybody to play. Mm-hmm. And I know the same thing's going on. I think yesterday was the first practice for 7th and 8th grade soccer at Oxbow, and the boys team had 5 kids. So there may come more, but at this point, it doesn't look like we're going to have any kind of real good season. And I will say, just because I did drop and pick up my daughter at school, Oxbow did a really good job, and Bradford got so much better today than it was yesterday. So I think everybody's kind of just trying to figure out the quickest way to and the safest way to get everybody through, and it'll probably continue to get better and better. So
cool. Thanks, Brian. Unless anybody has anything else, we'll just take a few minutes to for the voting commission members to do the minutes. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
you.
Take care.
Hey, Monique, am I to come to you soon today or no?
Huh?
Have you got that stuff yet?
Nope.
Okay, cool. See you later. Thank you for this.
Yeah. Cool. Did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes from whenever they were from? It was 26, I think, or something.
And can I just do an early vote?
Yeah.
Okay, and then
you can just make the motion.
I motion.
Okay. Anybody second it?
I will.
All right, cool. Thanks, Patty. And all those in favor of accepting the minutes from the last meeting? Aye.
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 Cool. And I know the grant check finally got to, thanks, Ashleen. You can run away.
Okay, I'm gonna jump off. Thank you, guys.
I know the grant check finally got to the town, but I don't know. Patty, do you know if that was deposited?
It has not been yet.
Okay.
I have not seen it.
Okay, no problem. I gave it to Jennifer. It's for $500. I don't know. I just assume probably sit on it for right now, unless we and see how fall goes. Unless anybody has a, it can't go to reimbursing expenses that we already spent. So cool. All right. We'll save it for a second wave disinfectant buy or something. All right. Anybody have anything else? Cool. And do you think, I keep going into these thinking that we should switch it, like I get a bunch of cancellations and I think that we should switch it to once a month, but then everybody ends up with valuable updates that are more like kind of scattered, that people we don't sometimes hear from and stuff. So I kind of assume just keep it every other week if people are good with that, but.
I think every other week is better.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
good
it's
with
still
every other
working
week.
out good.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a good 2 weeks.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.